I have no words. I mean, it's really, this brand is, I'm speechless. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Today we are opening up, unboxing, swatching, and discussing Roman Szmal. And I have heard so much about this brand. I don't want to get left behind. I have a little bit of fear of missing out. And what happened is that Jackson Art Supplies was on sale and had these babies on sale. Do I need another reason to like go shopping? No. And what I did was I actually ended up going on their website and picking out colors that are either unique to this brand or colors that fill in some of the voids that I have in my palette. Things that I don't already own, things that seemed interesting and new. And Roman Szmal is a brand created by a Polish paint maker. I believe that Mr. Szmal is still very much formulating his paints and his pigments. And I believe, I'm sorry, I'm so unresearched for this video, but these paints are also honey-based. My reactions are going to be in real time for this, which is always spicy. A spicy situation. I have my package right here from Jackson Art Supplies, and we will dive right in. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna pop this open and see what's going on inside. And oh my God, this is always so exciting. It's like Christmas, getting all these beautiful little pans and delicious, like little candy pieces. All right, so let's start pulling these out. And I purchased kind of a selection that varied from full pans to half pans, depending on what they had. I generally like buying half pans because they're cheaper, but for some of them that were out of stock, I ended up just going with the full pans to be able to get those particular colors. So what's really fun about these is I noticed that the packaging actually has some painted swatches that are a part of the packaging, which is really neat. I would imagine this is probably all hand done in order to get this to be presented this way. And I actually have a background in consumer packaging, so all these little packaging notes, like I'm noticing all this stuff. All right, so I definitely wanted an ultramarine. I wanted the Aquarius red, and we're gonna get into the specifics of each color when I start swatching them. But overall, really pretty presentation. Love the handmade swatches. Love the packaging. I think it's really lovely, and I generally tend to like the individually wrapped. I don't typically like these like plastic wrapped things. It's just my personal taste. But overall, it's a very lovely presentation. In terms of the palette, I ordered something from Amazon that's kind of outside of my usual comfort zone. We're going to experiment a little bit with this. So I ordered a palette kit, I guess we're going to call it, for this, which includes these little, what do you call them? Little pans that I can, oh, actually, I'm not going to use them for this. I'm going to put them to the side, maybe use them for something else. But it has magnetic little stickers that I can apply to the backs of every single one of these little swatches, and then put all of these into this little tin palette that I got that has a little painting of, who is this? Like it looks like a Monet? No, I don't know. Manet, Matisse, I'm not sure who this is, but it's a tin palette, and I will eventually put all of these little pans into this palette, and the magnets will stop it from sliding around, and it will help it stick to the bottom of the palette. So let's get this show on the road, unwrap this, and start sticking these. Well, first we have to unwrap, right? Unwrap the packaging and apply all of the magnets first. I'm so excited to finally get a chance to try these out because it's not every day that a new brand comes out onto the scene and really moves and shakes things around. I mean, usually the watercolor space is very much dominated by like the big brands, like the Winsor Newtons, the Senneliers, the Schminkas, the old traditional ones. And it's very rare that somebody new comes in and wows people. So I'm going to label all of these pans so that I can remember what everything is, because the last thing I want is to start painting with this and like have no idea what it was that I put on there. So I'm going to put a label on everything with a Sharpie, and then let's try this out. Yes, it works. Whew. All right. Extra points for me. Yay. So let's keep going. And I'm going to put the video in fast forward so I'm not boring you and letting this thing become a complete snooze fest of unwrapping everything. And I'm starting out with the full pans because these are, quite frankly, the easiest ones to open up. It's kind of like opening up little pieces of like Valentine chocolates. So these are really, really easy to open up. Okay, next part is the part that I'm, between you and me, kind of been dreading, which is opening up these blister packages. And it's giving me flashbacks of having to open up my kids' toys and like, what do they call it? Frustration-free packaging, which is like never frustration-free because it's like you need a chainsaw to get into them. So I hope this is going to be better. separating the plastic. And okay, already I can see this is going to be a problem. Oh my goodness. Yep, here we go. So I'm trying to get the paper that is glued on the back of the blister packaging to come separated from, I'm trying to push it out. Yeah, this is not my favorite thing. This is gonna be, oh, it came out. Okay, all right, finally. So let's label the side of this like with the rest. And I wonder if I can put the sticker. No, that's not gonna work. Okay, let's go back to the Sharpie idea and put the number, the actual, not pigment number, but the call number, the product number, whatever, onto that so that I can easily reference it after the fact. Okay, so, oh my God, do I have to do how many more of these? This is so annoying. Oh God. Please open. Oh. Okay, note for Roman Szmal, your packaging, I'm sorry, could use some work. This is no fun. And there's honestly nothing wrong with the full pan. You know, from a packaging designer's perspective, the full pan packaging where you've got like the little the paper that surrounds everything and then the aluminum is a cheaper solution. And I think he was trying to get, or the team, whoever designed this, was trying to be extra fancy with having blister packaging and these hand swatched little details here. But from oh gosh, and what's going on here? The watercolor is sticking to the blister packaging. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like this, Sam. I am. Oh God, no, this is really not good. Yeah, note for whoever's watching, I guess, if anybody from the team ever watches this video, stick with the full pan packaging. And honestly, like all the plastic, I think it's kind of wasteful for the environment to have this much plastic and, all this excess packaging. I think the environment doesn't need it. We as artists don't need it. And all we really want to do is get into these paints and start, painting. So any obstacle to that, I think, is going to be a minus in my book. But to troubleshoot this blister packaging paint sticking to the plastic kind of problem, something that I've run into in the past, especially if the temperatures are changing and you have like a high humidity index where you live, is to pop your watercolors, no joke, into the freezer for a few minutes, like 5 minutes in the freezer, and that'll help to solidify them enough so that when you are opening up your packaging, it doesn't end up doing that. So Julia Child voice now, pop your watercolors in the freezer for 5 minutes. Yes, so pop them in the freezer, don't forget about them, and we'll come back and pick them up when they are transformed into frozen desserts. Okay, we are back with these frozen chocolates. This should really just solve that problem. And, well, not the packaging problem, but the stickiness problem. And this should be the same thing for any brand that you have out there that has a problem where it sticks to either the paper or whatever it is that you're looking to separate it from. Freezer, just, great little trick right there. Okay, let's resume this unpacking and finish this off so we can get to the good part, which is swatching and experiencing these goodies together. Okay, here we go. So I have a block from Etcher, which they very generously provided to me, which I've been loving lately. It's a lot of fun, really good for swatching, and has a cold press texture, which I really like. So yeah, clean water. I've got my swatches. I've got my everything ready. Let us begin with the first color, which is 343, which is, what is this? Hold on, I have to consult my invoice to figure out what this is. It is deep green gold. So let's get the consistency. Oh wow, these wet really easily. Okay, I have to like blot because I was not prepared for how easily these were gonna re-wet. Wow. And oh, this is beautiful. It reminds me of Sennelier in a sense that it is very much like a honey-based formulation. It is, however, a little bit thicker and less watery than Sennelier. Super bright, super luminous and buttery, and has this incredible clarity to it that is astounding, honestly. So this is like our first color. So obviously we're going to be in for quite a ride. So I am picking up some of the, what is this, Paraline Green, and we're going to do these swatches a little bit more, I don't know, like a little bit freer and not so boxy, so we can see how these colors interact with each other, how they coexist, and how they bleed into one another. And again, gorgeous coloration here. A very muted dark green, great for landscapes, for mix. I could see this as being a terrific mixing color, honestly. All right, let's jump right into the next color, which is going to be, what is this? This is, oh, I can tell. I don't even have to look at the label here. Ultramarine Intense. And I saw the word intense in the labeling of this one and was like, okay, sign me up, because I love ultramarine as, I mean, just a foundationally excellent color to have. I mean, everybody needs ultramarine in their palette. But the fact that this one was intense, it sold me. And it definitely does deliver on that promise, because it is intense and bold without granulating so far. I mean, it hasn't dried, but I don't see any granulation yet. Okay, next color on the palette is Green Earth, or Terre Verte, correctly said. And this one is not a very dark, I mean, Terre Verte is never a heavily, very dark, opaque, intense color. It's very delicate, generally speaking. And this one is like, it's like walking on the beach and discovering sea glass on the sand, and that beautiful brilliance and transparency of something that's been like floating in the ocean for like 100 years. Just a gorgeous, sophisticated color. Next up is Aquarius Yellow, and oh, okay, very intense. Wow, again, super intense. And I'm going to bleed this into the Terre Verte a little bit to see what happens. And it's like a primary yellow, but with not that like chemical, like cadmium yellow sort of finish. I don't know how to describe this. It's really difficult to describe it because it is so clear. And I'm thinking like this reminds me of like stained glass. I mean, it really has that brightness and luminosity to it that I think is very unique. Next up is, what is this called? This is called The Tint. And whoa, right. That's like an explosion the second it hits. I mean, the fact that it re-wets this easily indicates to me that it's definitely like something like a honey-based formulation. Very lovely pink, and I could see myself using this a ton in my work, just because I do a lot of people, a lot of, ballerinas, obviously, and this is like a pink that is not like it's not a basic pink. It's sophisticated. Next up is Blue Ridge Burnt Sienna. And again, fascinating in terms of how buttery it is and how quickly it like disperses in such an effortless way. It's like I don't even have to move my brush. It just takes off. Like the paint has a life of its own or something. This would be great for landscapes. This would be great for forests and trees. And I'm immediately transported to like the countryside of Tuscany and, Siena and Umbria and the kind of architecture and the streets and the stone that you would find and the beautiful terracotta tiles. I mean, that's really where my mind goes with this amazing color. Next up on my list is, what is this? Olive Green Light. And this one reminds me a bit of the green gold, but it is less yellow. It's less that absinthe color and more of a natural olive green that you would find in obviously an olive or pickled cucumber. Cucumbers are always pickled. What am I saying? I am not the hugest fan of pickles, but I absolutely love this olive green light. It's beautiful. And this is a great green for mixing into your botanicals, florals, that kind of thing. I could see this being a super workhorse color. Like throw away your sap green and use this olive green light. That's where I'm at. Next color is Naples Yellow Reddish. And this is like, I'm thinking of my mom's golden retriever with this color because it is warm, it's golden, it's beigey, it's a fantastic color for using as a baseline in a landscape. So you can mix this into virtually every color that you'd have going on in a landscape and muddy it and earthy it up a little bit. And I think that would make your palette very, very complex and very interesting to use something like this as a vehicle, I guess, to get all your colors to be harmonious together. Okay, so I'm loving this color palette, by the way. I'm going to pat myself on the back for the amazing job that I've done on this. And this next color is just love. I mean, this is, what is this? This is Aquarius Red. And I believe that because it has the word Aquarius on it, that means that it's a pigment or a formulation that is unique to this brand. And wow, 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 wow. This is so gorgeous. I mean, this one has like Renaissance painting, like Raphael, portrait of the Madonna and Child. This is like the color of the red in her dress. Just like so elegant. Next up we have Misty Morning, and this one is very unique, super interesting. It's a bluish grayish color that shears down. I mean, I think this one is fabulous. Wow. I do not usually go for grays, but this one is not a dead gray. It's a living gray. It's like the color of like a misty morning. It's the color that you'd find if you were, in the countryside of like Wales or Ireland on a misty morning, and you encountered like a lighthouse, and it was kind of like this moody vibe and kind of like a William Turner painting. Sorry, I'm going to try to put pictures of these things on here so you know what I'm talking about if this is sounding totally bizarre and kind of weird. Okay, next color that we have on the list this is Quinacridone Gold, and oh wow. We're only halfway through and I'm like having a wild conniption and like hot flashes over this stuff. This is like just hats off to Mr. Szmal. That's all I gotta say. Actually, I take that back because I have to talk about the next color, which is Blue Ridge. Oh, baby is excited in the background. Blue Ridge Raw Sienna. And this one is not like your typical watery raw sienna. This one has bite. This one has a little bit of opacity to it. And I love that because not only can you use it for mixing, but it can be used as a standalone color and will pop off the page, which you're kind of seeing here on the right, where it's like, you have that opacity building there and you can use it for more than just, like it's terrible to say, but like a filler color, like raw siennas, well, in my experience, how I typically use raw siennas, which is to mix with other things, but rarely to use on its own. This one, however, has legs to stand on and can be the main star as well as the supporting cast. So I love that about it. So next one on the list is, this one I'm excited, Ocean Blue. So this one is, oh my goodness. Oh, punaise. Oh my God. This one I've heard a lot about, and I can see why, because it just explodes when it hits the paper. I mean, I'm getting more and more impressed and more wowed as I go along. This is an ocean blue that is kind of like a turquoise. It's sort of a phthalo turquoisey kind of color, which is just, I don't even know if we can adequately describe this color. So let's jump on to the next one, which is Mineral Violet. Oh my goodness. Words escape me. I mean, this one reminds me of Imperial Purple by Daniel Smith, but with the deepness in the mass tone of like a dioxazine violet. So impressive. I mean, hats off, Mr. Szmal. I mean, this is real. It takes a lot for me to be impressed to this magnitude, and I'm right there. So, oh my goodness. Oh la la. Every color gets better than the next. This one is Aquarius Green, and oh my, you guys have got to try this. I mean, I'm ready to, the baby's freaking out. I'm freaking out. I can't. It's just too much. I'm ready to prostrate myself at the feet of Mr. Roman Szmal because he apparently figured out something that is next level. I mean, I'm so excited to paint with this. I can't even contain my excitement. All right, so 4 more colors left, and I feel like it's like a cumulative effect. I'm getting more and more delirious as we go along. All right, so next color we have is Potter's Pink. And all right, this one it's my typical go-to for Potter's Pink is Winsor & Newton's, but this one is very unique. It granulates like dragon scales. I mean, it really has an incredible effect. Granulation, I shouldn't talk about it like it's something new, but this one granulates beautifully and would be amazing for doing like the veining in a flower. I mean, that texture just lends itself to those delicate, veins that you see in like a rose or petals of most flowers. Or if you're doing a landscape, like the cracked soil on the desert floor, like that kind of very interesting, very natural and organic texture. All right, next one on the list is Shadow Violet. And I've heard a lot of people talk about this one and rave about it, honestly. And this one looks familiar. This one reminds me of Daniel Smith's Moonglow. And I'm giving you references to like what I've used in the past. So I'm seeing a little bit of similarity here, except I find that this one is a bit more violet. Gorgeous though, I love this one. It's like Moonglow or this color, Shadow Violet, is like the purple counterpart to like a Payne's Gray. Great for using as shadows and building the darker values in a painting. Just makes it for such an elegant way of doing shadows. So highly recommend it. All right, next is, what are these colors? Oh my goodness, Cherry Quinacridone Red. And this one is like, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, what is this magic, really? Oh, and the way it interacts with the Shadow Violet. I mean, this is living the life as a watercolorist. This is just the most beautiful coral red. And again, I'm taken to like cathedrals in Europe and that incredible luminosity you get through those stained glass windows. It's just so elegant. I mean, wow. I'm like losing the ability to like describe these colors as I go along. It's like, how do I describe this? All right, the last one is Buff Titanium. And this one I've started to really enjoy. And the only other manufacturer that I found this color for has been Daniel Smith. And this one is a great version of this color. Wow, I'm excited because this one is a great one for baseline for skin tones, or also building up opacity, building up neutrality. And when you combine this with a cherry red, ooh la la. Wow, wow, wow. This in combination with the cherry red is like flower central. I mean, you get these incredible colors right here. So how do I even, like, this palette it's jazz in Lincoln Center, it's gelato in Italy, it's the Shibuya Light District in Tokyo. I mean, it's incredible. And the most impressive part of it is how these paints handle and how they come off of your brush and travel across the page like they have a life of their own. Closing thoughts are that this brand it's special. I mean, it's really, I'm speechless. I mean, what am I supposed to say? It's incredible. My socks are halfway across the room because they've been blown up. It is love. So yeah, if you have been sitting on the fence here and wondering whether or not to try out this brand, go for it. Go for it. Pull the trigger. Such a bad influence. Go get yourself some because, oh my God, that's really funny. That reminds me of a time that I was working at an agency and we were working with like a bubblegum brand and we were trying to find some like edgy tagline for this bubblegum, and like somebody pitched, "Go out and get some." Oh my God. All right, if you're watching so far, then, you deserve a medal. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me every week on these art videos, and I will see you next time.